fingers locked between her young boys' hands, girls following behind, all the money they had tied up in her hair. They walked and rode the bus and walked until the ground swayed under their feet, the salt settled onto their lips, and the ship screamed. When Lady Liberty grew a giant from the water, immigration tried to steal her youngest from her, said rickets or some other lie for labor. They tried, but she would rather lose her fingernails in their eyes than lose her child. When her husband died, leaving a sixth baby with her, social services grew a giant on her doorstep. You can't take all of these children. The baby will go to the orphanage and the boys will go to a work camp. You can keep the girls. The broom became a saber in her hands, and Russian for beat your ass must have slithered through her teeth, because only a mother's magic can drive two burly men from the door forever, and you are a woman with no money who can't speak English. Years later, deep in the South, my Grandpa Lewis on my father's side walked all the way out of dry Hueytown to buy liquor for his Baptist pastor, steaming into this holy man's hypocrisy, carrying liquid dark this night for miles to hide in his pastor's lined belly during the morning sermon. That morning, white hoods filed into the church, drunk on their own brightness. Lewis averted his eyes to the floor, where they fell on boots he recognized from digging into his own ribs over and over, his father's, staring back at him from the bottom of a white cloak. A few hours later, Lewis was hopping trains all the way to California. 16, alone and rattling over the tracks to somewhere else, fast as every runaway. That is to say, my legacy is a train. All aboard, there's nothing left to see here. Get the fuck out of Hueytown or the Ukraine. Like a train, this running is also noble, a justified flee. But what is guilt but the question, what was I to do? I am from an abusive great-grandfather in the KKK, and also the son that hated him. I am from the immigration men measuring heads and stealing children for work camps, and also the mother too strong to separate her family for a moment, fighting with the fury of the hunted. The enemy of every historical story lives in me, but so does the capacity to kill it. Hatchets and hangman's nooses live in this skin, but my blood runs hot as an Alabama prayer underneath. My blood runs like train cars to California, runs like a boat to Ellis Island, runs like a kept house with full bellies, runs like suppressed memories flashing across the mind. I am from running away from problems and toward them with chipped teeth. I am from running, but I am also from staying. Lewis survived in a tent during the Great Depression, fixed cars for pennies until he owned a gas station. Rebecca, with 6 kids, sold home-cooked food door to door to keep her family together. Which is to say, my lineage is a ship, a vessel for freedom and slavery, a bobbing duality in the water, a history of hurt and healing, of knowing when to leave and when to stay. When I protest in the streets, my eyes cast to the concrete, I can't help but recognize the officer's boots, the white anarchist's boots. My ribs remember too. And suddenly, my blood runs cold as steel, and my breath is smoke, the run in me churning with the power of every engine. Then another gun, another gun, another gun, and hands that look like mine. Full steam ahead, I know my tears won't fix shit, but this black mother's son on Twitter says, "It's okay, mama, we'll be safe inside." And my students ask how and why, and other questions big as ships, and I can feel myself pulling away from the harbor, staring at my hands through the fog of who am I? The train is barreling towards me now, a mammoth bullet, a steel muscle, a furnace-heated claw, and it hits me. I am Rebecca on the doorstep, making my broom a saber. I am Lewis staking a tent into California dirt to make a new home. I stay, for family, for justice. I fight, all my money tied in my hair, my palms covered in calluses and grease. I am the power of every engine, the energy of the sea. Full steam ahead, iron built, the train, the ship, me.